brought me home to homeschool in the 4th grade. And she always said, I'm so glad you already knew how to read. You already knew the basics of math, so I didn't have to teach you. Well, when I started to homeschool my children, I thought, okay, how am I going to teach them to read? There's so many reading curriculum out there. It's absolutely overwhelming. So I picked one that was recommended called Word Families. Spent all kinds of money getting workbooks, worksheets, flashcards, posters, little books with rhyming words in them. And we sat down, we started to learn to read. And in a few months, I thought, this is just not working. I had a guesser. And if you had a guesser, they don't look at the page. They look at you, they look at your face, they look at the pictures. They're trying to guess what the words say. And we were both so frustrated. One day my mom brought me this book that Dee Dee had loaned to her, and she said, well, why don't you give this one a try? I picked it up and I thought, honestly, my first impression was, who wants to read this? There's no pictures, there's no colors, there's not even a storyline, it's just a bunch of words. Not realizing that the exact problem we were having was the pictures, was the story. It was distracting us from reading. I said, well, what have we got to lose? So we sat down, we started to read, and the first time my daughter was keeping her eyes on the page, she was seeing the letters, getting them into her eyes, back here to the part of your brain that reads, and she was reading. She was so proud of herself that day that she went and got a green crayon, and she wrote a big star on it. And I thought, well, guess we're going to buy that book now because we can't take it back. And that act of vandalism was a great start because then we were fully committed to the program. And within a few weeks, my daughter said, Mom, I'm really reading. I said, I know you really are. You're really reading it. And we just stepped through it bit by bit. I love that it integrates the reading and spelling together. It's really important to me that my kids spell well. I think how you spell represents yourself to the world. You know, if you're on Facebook or you're writing an email and you spell things wrong, it doesn't represent you well. So I want my kids to learn to spell. And for it to be taught together, it's fantastic. I love also that the vocabulary is built right in. We read a word, we talk about it. If we don't know what it is, we go get the dictionary. It's like, it's okay not to know what a word means, but it's not okay to just stay not knowing what it means. You need to take the effort and show them, Mommy doesn't know either, and that's okay. We're going to go look it up together. One of my daughter's favorite words that we learned was fad. We said, well, what does fad mean? Well, then we got to use the word fad. Anytime we saw anything with Duck Dynasty, we'd say, that's a fad, that's a fad. Tam, hid, bit, just any of these little words were just so much fun for her to get to use them and to integrate them into her vocabulary. So we've been working along the program. She's wrapping up 1st grade now. And just a few months ago, we got to long vowels. I thought, okay, here we go. It's been going smoothly now, but long vowels is going to be hard. This is going to be really hard. But I was amazed. It really wasn't. The way that Dee Dee has structured these so orderly, it just went as smoothly as can be because she puts it
33.
33. There we go. So that you read the short vowel and then you read the long vowel. You read man, main, tap, tape, sow, sail. And so it's right there, the contrast between a short vowel and a long vowel. And there's no avoiding it. You get to see right there. And my daughter just picked it right up. Long vowels were like no big deal. We could just go right into them. And right about spring break, I would say, of her 1st grade year, she just took off. I couldn't keep her from reading. She was reading billboards, she was reading envelopes, she was reading the grocery list, she was reading books that we would pick up. And I've been so excited. It's just been a wonderful program. Another thing I have to say that I love about this curriculum is this is it. This is all there is right here to it. There's nothing extra to buy. There's nothing consumable about it. It was the only language arts we used for kindergarten and 1st grade. Now we're heading into 2nd grade. I've got 3 kids, so I'm thinking, okay, I take this book, I divide it by 3 kids, I divide it by kindergarten and 1st grade, like this is the best deal going. And this is all there is. I don't need to buy extra things. I don't need to buy a bunch of stuff that's going to get used up or cutesy little books that nobody really wants to read because this has really been a great program. So I highly recommend it, and I'm excited to say I finally have a reader.